Welcome to She Sells Radio, my friend. We have such a good topic for you today, such an important topic for you today about the power of decision. This is probably one of the most important concepts that you can ever grasp in your life. And when you study truly successful people, people who have the type of life that you want, people who have the financial abundance, the impact, the luxury, the lifestyle, the common denominator amongst all success, like truly successful people, is that they make decisions quickly. They have the ability to make decisions quickly and then change their mind slowly. And I'm just feeling so lit up about this right now. I actually had something happen in my own life yesterday that I'll share with you about in a moment that to me was like, oh, this is the power of decision. But I want to share a little bit of context first and just share some things that I've seen with, well-meaning women who, and men too, right? It's like we all do this, but I'm speaking primarily to my women today. Well-meaning people who have a good vision, have a desire, but why it doesn't come into form for them. So I'm going to talk about that too. So I want to share, I was listening to some Bob Proctor the other day, and one of the things that he said was that when you have an opportunity come across your desk, you've got something that comes in front of you. If you don't make a decision on that within 20 seconds or less, you don't actually deserve to have the thing. And I know that sounds maybe a little bit harsh, but to me, that was such, I always I love expanding my thinking, and I love learning to think the way that people who are more successful than me think. And so that's why I love studying, some of the greats in our world who are both alive and dead, but thinking, okay, that's how he thought. So I need to start thinking even more like that. Like if I can't make a decision on something in 20 seconds or less, then I don't deserve to have it. Whew, like how powerful. And the other thing he said was most ideas are stillborn. Most ideas are stillborn. And how many, I want you to think about in your own life, how many incredible ideas have you had that at the time were like, yes, this is absolutely a yes. And it probably felt stretchy, right? Maybe it was a program you wanted to invest in. Maybe it was a retreat you wanted to host. Maybe it was a house you wanted to buy, but it felt too stretchy. And you said, oh, I don't know how I'm going to do that. And then you said, well, I'll think about it later. And then what happened? It just kind of faded away. And so most ideas are truly stillborn. And I wanted to speak, and I say this in love. So anytime I coach, when I coach my clients, one of the things they hire me to do is to be direct with them and to be a mirror to them and to help them see their blind spots, because we all have blind spots. I have blind spots. That's why I have coaching and mentors. But I hear this a decent amount from women in the community, which is, they'll look at doing one of our programs like the 10K club or the 50K club, and they'll say, oh, yeah, this is a must for me. This feels so right. Yeah, I really think I need this. And but I'm going to need to take a couple days to think about it. I'm going to need to take a couple days to think about it. I know in that instant that unless something shifts dramatically for them, that idea that they have, that goal that they have of them achieving, 6 or multi-6 or 7-figure earnings, that is going to be stillborn for them because they're not willing to make a committed decision in the moment. And they'd rather, and a lot of this is subconscious, but they would rather stay where they are because even if it's not where they want to be, it's comfortable and it's known. And so I wanted to read to you this line from The Science of Getting Rich. Well, it's a couple lines, but it's brief. He says, put your whole mind into present action. Do not give your creative impulse to original substance and then sit down and wait for results. If you do, you will never get them. Act now. There is never any time but now, and there never will be any time but now. If you are ever to begin to make ready for the reception of what you want, you must begin now. And I thought about this yesterday. So I shared at the beginning, I had a little personal story to tie in with this. So yesterday I had a call where I was presented with an opportunity to invest in a program that I was not planning on investing in. And so I hadn't been, setting aside funds to do it. But as I talked with the person about it, I was like, I just knew, yes, this is exactly what I need right now to get to my next level. I could tell. And when he shared the investment with me, I was like, okay, like I said, I haven't been setting aside money for that. I've been investing in a lot of other things in my business right now. And I was like, you know what, this is a must for me. Here's what I need to do. And I want you to listen to how I did this, because I did this not just to I did this to make a committed decision to myself and to show myself, my subconscious, the universe, that I'm serious. I said, I can't give you the full amount today. I need a couple weeks, but can you take a deposit? I just gave him amount. I was like, can you take a deposit? And he and I worked it out to where we're going to do that. And I know I'll do the full amount in a few weeks. And so in that moment, part of my brain was like, well, I'll just get back in touch with him in a few weeks when I'm ready. But I knew that power of decision, that if I didn't make a committed decision, and commitment means you've got something on the line. So you've put money into it. You've booked the trip. You've put the deposit into the program, not giving it lip service, right? We can make ourselves feel good all day long by saying, yes, 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 I'll do this when. But if you haven't made a committed decision to something, if you haven't actually put something on the line, I talk about this all the time in my keynote about how critical it is to burn the ships, the importance of burning the ships where you cannot turn back. I knew that as much as I like to think of myself as being someone who's like, yes, I always take that expansive action and do the thing. Like if I gave myself a couple weeks, I don't know, I could have talked myself out of it. Right? That's so easy to do if we give ourselves that out. So I had to set it up where I wouldn't have an out. So I said, let me give you the deposit and then we'll get the rest sorted over the next few weeks. And so in that moment, did it feel uncomfortable because I wasn't planning on making that investment? Yes, it did. Was my brain telling me things like, oh, are you sure? Yes, of course it was. That's normal. But the key is to know what's going on there, that it's your ego, it's the subconscious that likes its old way of being, trying to do whatever it can to unseat you from making the decision to move forward. And so I kind of was just like, I just ignored it. I was like, okay, I hear you, but I'm not going to listen to you. And I'm going to move forward on this because I know it's in my highest and best good. And the way I always evaluate decisions is, what would the person who has the reality that I want do in this situation? What would she do? This is a great decision-making tool. It'll always give you clarity. So if you're listening to this and your goal is to hit 6 figures this year, maybe it's like, what does the woman or man, right? Whoever's listening, what does that version of me do in this circumstance? Or if your goal is 7 figures, what does the 7-figure version of me do? If your goal is 8 figures, what does the 8-figure version of me do? I love using that as a guide, as a lens, as a tool, because you'll instantly get the answer. Now, it's not going to be the most comfortable thing. And no one ever said that growth in getting everything you want in your life is comfortable. But you know what? The alternative of living a half fulfilled life and wondering what could have been and being disappointed at the end of your life, like, who wants that, right? That's not what you're here for. That's not what you came here for. And so, if you read Psycho-Cybernetics by Maxwell Maltz, here's the beautiful thing. People, they hear that you don't need to know how to make a decision, that you're going to have something. And they're like, well, that doesn't really make sense. Of course I need to know how. You actually don't, because the way that your brain is wired, your subconscious will always show you the how of something, but it won't until you make a committed decision. Once you make the committed decision, and the committed decision isn't saying, oh, I'll do this in a few weeks, or I'll do this when I have the money. It's like, no, let me figure out how to make a deposit today. Let me do a public post today that I'm going to do this thing by this date. Like, that is a committed decision where there's something on the line that has raised the stakes significantly for you. When you do that, The whole job of your subconscious is designed to give you the roadmap to where you're going, but it's all based on efficiency. Everything in your body runs on efficiency. Everything in your brain runs on efficiency. So it's not going to expend the effort and the energy to guide you on the roadmap of how to get to where you want to go until you've made that committed decision. So all you've got to do is make a decision and then know that once you do, the right ideas, the right solutions, the right people, the right resources will start to show up for you to move into that. But the key is to know you'll always have what you need to get started. You often won't have everything you need for, just like in the instance of what happened to me yesterday. I didn't have everything I needed right then, but I had enough to get started. And I know how this stuff works. So I was like, let me get started today so that I can get my subconscious going to work for me on how to bring in the rest of the resources and everything I need for this to be complete in a couple of weeks. That is decision, my friend. And that is a habit that when you practice it again and again and again, your whole life will change. Your whole life will change. And I tell you what, if you're listening to this too, and you're getting, I'm always, to me, it's always, I look at everything in life as a mirror. So if you're listening to this and you're getting a lot of clients who are like, I just need to think about it. I need to pray on it. I need to wait on it, whatever. I want you to look at where in my own life am I doing that? Where in my own life am I pushing things off? Because the more talented you get, the more habitual you make making those decisions, I promise you'll have it mirrored less and less and less in your clients too. So I want you to just take a moment and think about, what have you been postponing making a decision on? And are you willing to let that idea be stillborn? Because if you are, then keep postponing it if you're willing to not have it in your life. But if it's truly a must for you, what action do you need to take today, right now, in this moment, to make a committed decision that this is happening? It will feel uncomfortable. It will feel stretchy. Your brain will tell you you're making a mistake. You have to know what's going on in that moment. Your body will try to unseat you. It'll get you distracted. It'll say, oh, you should go check your phone and do this later. You have to know it's the old conditioning. It's the old belief system doing whatever it can to keep you where you are. But if you're no longer okay being where you are, then it's time for you to get in charge and for you to say this is happening and for you to make that committed decision. So what is that committed decision you need to make? I'd love to know. I'm at Elise Archer on all social. Take a screenshot of this episode, tag me, let me know what is the decision that you're making today based on this conversation about the power of decision. This will 100% change your life when you implement it. Wishing you a beautiful rest of your day. I can't wait to hear about the decision you're going to make. And I'll see you on our next episode.